You guys want to hear something cool that happened to me today? So I purchased the entire King of the Hill series on DVD, which you already know I have. And but some of the discs had scratches on them, and one of them skipped. So just on a whim, I decided to reach out to them and I asked them for a partial refund. They gave me a full refund and let me keep it. So I have the whole King of the Hill series for free. I'm very happy. I know, I know. It was Poshmark. We will see.
Smart, I don't think that you have a voice on the stream. Like, I was listening to it, and it doesn't appear that like you. Because I can hear Yokai, but not Smart.
Hmm. Actually, since we're on the topic, Smud, you might want to check your settings because your mic is a little muffled today.
I got it. I think.
Okay.
I think it works.
I'm gonna check the stream too, just in case.
All right. Yeah, I gotta see how I'm doing here. Everything's plugged in. Okay, let me check one more time. Da-da. Okay, let's try that. Hopefully.
All right, you're on the video now.
Sorry about that, guys. Do appreciate you guys telling me. Yeah, for whatever reason, Streamlabs just kicked me out. That was weird. Like, what?
Yeah, much better, much better.
Okay. Yeah, that was me. I do apologize. Yeah.
Your mic also is a lot less muffled now, by the way.
Yeah, the standard settings from Discord just use the default, and
Yeah, sometimes Discord turns the compression back on, and I notice it affects your mic really bad when it does.
yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes I feel funny bringing it up, but we were on the topic, so.
I don't know why it does that, and for whatever reason, Streamlabs just disabled the whole thing entirely, and I was like, what the?
Mm.
So I didn't check that. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, Smudcast 512, Bricky, seems like a nice guy. I don't know what his background is for English, but hopefully it'll be a very straightforward video for 20 minutes, and we can all get an iced tea and chill out and relax and just agree with everything he says, because of course he knows exactly what he's talking about. Anyway,
it would be a nice change of pace to agree with the person for once.
well, we've been doing pretty good, except for that.
We had like a really good video this week.
Yeah.
I believe so.
The only one was the Naruto video, and we couldn't even get through it, not because the guy was right or wrong. It's because his delivery was so condescending to the show that I was like, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Like, if you're going to make an argument...
What did he say? Like, yeah, maybe Naruto is on the spectrum?
He said a lot of really dumb things, not just about the Naruto character, but the show as a whole and the characters within the show, because every character is a mirror of Naruto, and they're all this or that explicative. And it's like, dude, this is not how you set up an argument. You know, it's like saying...
Go ahead and finish.
Yeah, like all the characters in Batman are bad because they're all in the dark and you can't see them. It's like, what do you... the cartoons? Like, yeah. What? It's like, no. They're in the darkness. They're supposed to be dark. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've actually started watching Naruto Kai, which is a fan project to basically cut out the filler from Naruto. I found it on Reddit, and it's pretty good.
There
The
are,
most
yeah.
in case anyone in the audience wants to download it, I recommend getting the torrent because there's two versions of it. There's the MP4 version and there's the MKV version. The MKV version, you'll want to open in VLC Media Player, and the subtitles are separated so you can disable them if you want. They're not hard coded into the video like the MP4, but some of the downloads they're on Mega Upload. I mean, no, it's not Mega Upload. It's I Mega. It's just called Mega.
It's
That
just
site.
called Mega nowadays.
Yeah, it's just called Mega, and there was a copyright issue or something, so they're not letting you download it. So I recommend downloading the torrent version using like Qbit torrent or something.
Well, if you're going to use any downloading from a third party, make sure you have VPN. And I know I should probably be getting a sponsor because everyone has a sponsor for VPN. But honestly, nowadays, everyone should be using a VPN. They're cheap. They protect you. You won't get nasty emails in your inbox from your ISP saying you just downloaded something. It's like, well, thanks, I own it. I own, all
Great,
these.
Kyogre's Hideout. I torrented Naruto Kai. Yeah, me too. Haven't watched it yet, but plan to eventually. I watched episode 1, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really getting into Naruto.
Yeah, it's very well dramatized. So even if you don't like ninjas and kids and high school and whatever, they really focus
The
on
pacing is really good.
well without the filler. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
There's like
That's
100
right, because I'm
episodes.
watching Kai.
There's like 60 or 80 episodes just pure filler, and you're like, ugh. That's one
Yeah,
season.
the Kai version. I think there's only like 70 something episodes. I could be wrong though.
Yep.
70. It's
They
under
cut
3
out a
digits.
lot of filler.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, let's see what Bricky has to say about characters. Here we go.
When you want to read something, what's the first step that goes into it? Writing it. And writing.
What? When I want to read something, I don't want to write the book. That's not a.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Even for a joke, that was just.
I mean, usually
Deadline.
when people have sentences, they're called prepositional phrases where you have a modifier to describe the thing. Like, I got the key to open the locked door. Not, I wanted a sandwich. No, I wanted an egg salad, so I bought a chicken. It's like, what? Weird stuff. Anyway, I get what he's trying to say. He just didn't do it very well.
Yeah, that was really poorly worded.
And the stuff on the screen is not helping me.
Is pretty cool.
Writing is pretty cool.
Because writing good important things creates good important books.
What?
What is he talking about?
I don't know
Is
what's
this the
going
joke
on.
video?
What is he talking? Guys, if you want to write a really important story, you have to talk about really important things. What the?
Do you have to write it down?
I'm quite sure if I start with the premise that I want to write well, and therefore I need a good important idea, probably isn't the right way to start writing. Just
Yeah, because what is important?
even then, it doesn't really matter what your idea is. It's how you do it and how you get there. I could be talking about buying milk, and it's how I get to the store, what I'm feeling, why I'm doing it, why I'm walking this way. Do I have money? Do I have my wallet? Where am I? Like, you could do all kinds of crazy stuff on a stupid idea like buying milk. So this guy, he's just having fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
And those good important books can be listened to as audiobooks
Oh, geez, he's selling something. Here we go.
on Audible. Today's sponsor. You know about Audible. I know about Audible. It's a fantastic.
All right, skip ahead.
Will Smith wrote a book?
What?
Was this
Right
made
there.
before the slap or after the slap?
When did this come out? Yeah.
Experience with Chris Rock.
After the slap. This video came out like 5 days ago.
Yeah, you're right.
What?
Yes.
After the slap? Oh,
Yes.
Jesus.
5 days ago.
Anyway, let's just skip ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, no, obviously Audible's a great service, but yeah. Okay, here we go.
Because I read those books is 3 books. Just start with the first one, Soul
sorry.
Hunter by Aaron Dembski Bowden, done by Andrew Wincott. The voice
God.
for non-40k stuff, it is really well done. The Mythos Camus. It's
2 minutes of
How
shilling.
long
like
is
that.
this ad?
Bricky to 500-500.
30-day
Go
trial.
ahead and get
All
started
right.
on your audiobook
That's
journey
Bricky, 500 to
immediately. And
500.
thank you very much
minutes.
for sponsoring this video, Audible. And let's talk about writing. Hello, everybody. My name is Bricky, currently serving 10 to life in my own home because I had COVID the last week. It wasn't very fun,
Whoa.
but I'm better now. All's good.
Really? People are still getting COVID. Holy crap, that's pretty sad.
Is the only
Oh,
person.
yes.
I didn't know that. I thought it was pretty much just a common cold now, and everyone gets a cold in summertime.
No, now it's called Ukraine.
No, it's called. Oh, man. Gotta give billions of dollars to Ukraine. Okay.
Oh, no. We caught the Ukraine. Oh.
You got we get $1 billion. All right.
I feel
No.
mostly, well, I'm mostly better. The Elden Ring video, though, did very, very well. That was pre-COVID and everything. Glad all of you liked it.
Wow, COVID gave you a broken
Broken
arm. Yeah, that's pretty bad, man. Holy jeez, gotta watch out. Those
Oh,
viruses.
I thought it was from Elden Ring. Like, the game really gets hardcore.
So he broke his arm and then he caught COVID.
Caught COVID.
maybe
Got
he-
COVID from Elden.
Maybe he broke his arm playing Elden Ring, and then he ran out and he got COVID.
He went to the hospital to get his broken arm
Oh.
fixed and got COVID.
Then
See?
yeah, that's a good story. That makes more sense. Okay.
I really enjoyed writing that one. I felt like the pacing was a little bit better and I had a lot to say and it was a long video, but I think it did a pretty good job at explaining what I wanted to say. And I even almost kind of changed some of my opinions with some time, so I might make a follow-up video to that one like 6 months down the line after the game's been out for a while, but we'll determine that some other time. My arm has also been healing up rather well, as you can see, and you know
That is
me, I
very
like my,
cool, but
I like
like,
my
can you
hand
just
motions, I
focus
like my
on the video
movements.
itself?
Is about to
Whoa.
Fight, Sonny Kapoor.
What's going on right
I
now?
don't know. What is happening?
Wait, what's this video? What's this video about? Let your good characters do bad things, damn it.
He's fighting Guile. I'm like, what? What is happening? Okay, whatever.
Can we like criticize like this kind of like methods to like make a video? Like I know that like you have to like hook the viewer in somehow, but like 3 minutes in and we are still not talking about the main topic.
Yeah, he's
of
just
interest.
entertaining his audience with random crap. Well,
I know.
with advertising at least.
This is painful.
I mean, I don't even remember the first minute. What happened in the first minute?
Audible.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why don't you have like, I don't know, a thesis on like what you want your video
Raid
to be?
Shadow Legends is the latest
Then do
game
the
for Israel.
advertising, then just get back to the video or whatever.
All right. I don't know. It's fine. Whatever. Let's go.
This is why
Go
I'm happy
home
I
and
can do
get
this in the
that.
comfort of my own home. But today we are not going to be reviewing a game. Today is more of a concept day. It's more of an idea I had in my mind, something I've wanted to talk about for a while, but no real way to explain it despite me mentioning it
just
in
say
so
we're
many
not gonna
videos prior.
reviewing
This
a
is a
game?
video where I want to talk about
Yeah.
what happens when a character makes a decision. And not just a normal decision, but a decision that is morally wrong, technically wrong, or against the main fabric of their character. That might seem a little bit weird to explain, but it's
Yeah, that's usually called bad writing. You don't have characters
Yeah,
just
you don't have them make decisions that are against the fabric of their character.
yeah, usually
You can have the person make a character making a mistake isn't necessarily
yeah, like take Batman as a great example. He's a vigilante, so he believes in hunting down criminals and beating them up. Society says violence is bad, the cops don't like that, that's their job or whatever. So he's an anti-hero because the rest of society sees him as a bad guy, but he's doing something for a greater good. So to him, it's okay. But to everyone else, or most people, Well, maybe the public likes him as a result of that because they're the public, but the police certainly do not like him.
The only time a character should make a decision that's outside of the fabric of their character is when some form of development is taking place.
Exactly, you got it. That's when there's a character change has occurred. Oh, maybe that's what he's trying to get at. Maybe he's trying to say, we need climaxes and character arcs. So have your character change to be in a different moral standing when they get to that point, and then do something to reflect that. That would be...
I don't know. Let's maybe rewind back there a few seconds and analyze what he said again. I don't know if he's saying that.
All right. Well, no,
might
he's
be
not.
giving-
He's not saying that right now, but that's what he's getting to.
This is a video where I want to talk about what happens when a character makes a decision, and not just a normal decision, but a decision that is morally wrong, technically wrong, or against the main fabric of their character. That might seem a little bit weird to explain.
Yeah. Like I was even Monster.
Yeah, all right. We misjudged him. Okay.
Yeah. Tenma. He's going to do what's right. The first come first serve. He helps the Johan first, and the mayor dies, and then he goes, "Oh my God, I screwed up," and then he finds out what a horrible person that he saved, and he has to go on his quest to go stop him. And even at that point, he's having second guesses. Do I stop this kid? How do I do it? What is this right? Is this wrong? That is and as soon as you pull that trigger, then the choice is made. And he could miss. It doesn't matter if he misses, but he's in his mind, he's decided to kill someone or stop someone or whatever. So that is what I would say is good conflict, because that's the whole story. That's the whole point of Monsters. This one guy chasing after another and all the people involved. So that would be more indicative of a person who's teetering on the morally gray when we know he's a good guy.
But it's basically like, okay, how do you make a character who is generally pretty evil, and how do you make it so it works when they do something heroic? Or more in particular for this case, how do you take a character who is generally seen as pretty good and make them do something abhorrent? And how does it work properly? For a long time in prior videos, when I talk
not like
about
what he was showing, that's not how you do it.
The prequels are
Absolutely not.
really bad for how Anakin became Darth Vader. I think we all know that.
You turned her
Specifically
against
3,
me.
because 1 and 2 don't even get into that. It's really just 3.
Everything happens in 3. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like they reminded George Lucas that, hey, like we need to turn him into Darth Vader.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Mm.
I think he killed a bunch of people in the second one.
Sand people.
The sand people.
The sand people, yeah.
The women and children too.
That was like out of nowhere. It's like, why did you do that?
He killed the little one.
Hey,
Swallowed
to
them
be
like
angry is to
animals.
be human, okay? That was the reason.
He just got angry despite being trained by these
thing
peaceful
is,
monks.
3 is actually a pretty fun movie until Anakin turns evil. Like, when I was a kid, 3 was fun all around. Then when I got older and more critical, 3 is still fun until Anakin turns evil.
Right.
Then I just, like, the second Anakin turns evil, that's when I just can't
And that's what
take it seriously.
I think the Clone Wars was kind of the apology to the prequels, because they took that age group or age range of Anakin and said, okay, we'll take him right here where he's strong, but he's still not, pure good, pure evil. And we'll just play with that as he's a Jedi Knight running around with Obi-Wan and having adventures. And that was Clone Wars. It was fun.
He had a lot of moments in that show where like he was like pure evil.
There are times.
Like
yeah.
he like choked people.
Yeah, it was great with Oris Coffee or whatever her name was, Oris Offie, one of the gray Jedi who was undercover as a Sith or whatever. And
Yes.
he's just wailing on her and fighting like crazy and choking her, and like, oh shit.
Didn't he also beat up the shit I think Obi-Wan as well? Like he was undercover, wasn't he?
Yes. They had a fight, I believe, and then like Obi-Wan told him that like, hey, it's me.
I remember the 2D Clone Wars where he fights Ventress really violently. That was a pretty cool fight. So there are plenty of
Obviously the superior show.
Yeah, for sure. And Shiny's nowhere to be found. So yeah, no, it's there's lots of great shots in those series because you need to develop a character to get from A to B. You don't just go, oh, I love my wife. Time to kill Jedi. You're like, what?
Yeah, it was so bad.
Save my wife.
with my magical powers I don't have yet. I'm like, what? What the fuck?
Save Martha.
Yeah.
Hey, Smud, just got a message saying Wisp and Nicola Khan want to be in the panel as well.
Oh god, this is going to take so long, guys. If they jump in. No offense, but the last time we had it, we did Smudcast, we had like 7 or 8 people.
Hey, Smud, what's the definition for turn-based RPG?
Oh my god.
God, like I was like laughing so hard.
I was sitting there, guys, please.
How long is this gonna
Please. Stop talking about Pokemon,
Oh.
please.
How long was it?
Only 2 hours and a half, but still, it was like a 7-minute video.
Oh,
And the video was so innocent and like straightforward, but everyone was talking about all these other topics. I'm like, dude, please focus. We could
It was amazing. I loved it.
we could bring them on later. We could bring them on later, but let's at least get through 10 minutes of this, and then we'll see if we'll bring them on.
okay.
Anyway.
Character making the decision, I'd have to always say it's not about if you like the decision. It's not about if you agree with what they're doing. It's about, do you believe they would do it? So when it comes to discussing games, and particularly reviewing the stories
that's
in
why
them,
anime
there
is
tends to be a
terrible.
disconnect between the right choice and the one the character makes. Now, the right choice in quotations there, it depends on a certain set of specifics. And I normally fix these into 2 different categories: a technically right choice, or like a mechanically right choice, and then a morally.
So wait, we just jumped from storytelling to gaming? Like, what is... Why... I thought we weren't
Wait,
talking
so
about
he's-
gaming.
So he's specifically talking about gaming?
Well, he just related this concept of having a good guy turn bad to gaming mechanics. So a character in a game who has a personality or whatever, like, I don't know, Zelda, Link, he uses an ice block to push a button on a trigger on a floor puzzle, and it shows us in a tutorial how to do that, like something like that. It's like,
Yeah, but is he only specifically talking
No, I
about
think
linear
it's more.
games,
I
or
think it's more like Last of Us type of gaming. If he's bringing up games, I think he even
Sure.
showed. I think he even showed Last of Us.
right, but even
Oh,
Or
yeah, he
like
did.
story-oriented games.
right, but you don't need this comparison. You could just use storytelling as a
Film.
whole, or film.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick any medium outside of gaming because you don't need it to complicate things. Pick
Yeah.
a character like Gandalf. Would Gandalf hurt the hobbits? No, of course not. He would never do that. So would he technically give them tobacco that's so strong it would hurt them? Maybe. Yeah, they can make it blitzed out of their minds. And you know, Gandalf's laughing there and smoking up a pipe and trying to out smoke him, and he's just like so high, but the other ones are so gone they're falling asleep. So that could be something Gandalf might do. But they wouldn't have like Gandalf or Pippin like backstab Frodo. Like that would never happen. So I think that's what he means by technically this is something that they would do.
Right choice, which already has its own weird set of circumstances because moral relativism. Now, a technically right choice is a very simple one. That is when they make the right mechanical or technical choice in a situation, like picking the right ball out of 3 cups, aiming the gun and hitting their shot and doing a really good job at that, having the guy make the 3-pointer basketball shot to win the game and the series and all this kind of stuff. You know, it has them do a technically right choice. And often those are set up in the skill of the person, or perhaps just, you know, maybe a little bit of luck. 007 can do something crazy like shooting a gas tank to explode and kill a bunch of guys because he's a super secret agent and he thinks on his feet. The person who threw the basketball probably had all this time where they weren't very good at basketball. They kept training and training and training, and then they finally did that big hero moment and they saved the game. You know, it's all been set up like that. But then there's also morally right choices, which is more on the lines of like sacrificing oneself to save many people, or the drunken father who resists the temptation of alcohol to be with his daughter for her birthday. That kind of morally right choice. Now, I'm a firm believer that for a character to be good, they never need to make the morally or technically right choice ever, because perfect people tend to be fucking boring.
Wait. What the hell? Let me rewind that. I didn't think that made any sense.
Choices, which is more on the lines of like sacrificing oneself to save many people, or
Okay.
the drunken father who resists the temptation of alcohol to be with his daughter for her birthday. That kind of morally right choice. Now, I'm a firm believer that for a character to be good, they never need to make the morally or technically right choice.
For a character to be good, they don't make morally right choices? Then how are they good?
No, it's
Hold on,
like
let him
enforces
finish the
them
thought. Let him
character to
finish
be
the
I think
like
he's
that.
saying. I think he's saying they're good as an entertaining or interesting or whatever.
Oh, not morally good, just good. A good character as a whole.
Yeah, I was also thinking that. That's why I want to hear him finish his thought, because I think he's saying good as in high quality, not good as in a good person.
Okay.
Which
Oh,
was
yeah,
just bad
exactly.
wording,
Because his
but
previous example was about morally good. Like if you're bad about
I know. He should have used a different word.
Yeah, okay.
He should have used a different word, but I think he means high quality.
Okay, that was ugh. All right, good.
Ever, because perfect people tend to be fucking boring. Superman, I'm sure he's got other stuff in comics and stuff, but the Superman I've seen is fucking boring.
Okay, you're
Well, that's because
Superman I've seen. Why didn't he redo this? He keeps slipping his lips up like it's live
okay,
or
Yokai,
something.
You know he has COVID, so
Yeah,
he
it's
has some
got COVID.
speech impairment.
yeah, exactly.
and he had a broken arm, so that messes with the speech.
So Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. Yeah, that is not a very good rendition of Superman, but I wouldn't call him boring. I'd just be like, oh, he's weird. He's not quite Superman the way I think of him.
He's not perfect, so I'm like, how is that a bad Superman? I don't know.
Yeah, the show
So
is boring.
He's like evil. Like he kills people.
He blows away
Yeah,
buildings.
if his wife dies, he will destroy the
Yeah, I don't
entire
think-
world and become a dictator.
Yeah, I don't think people were critical of Man of Steel because it was boring. I think people were critical of Man of Steel because it wasn't him. He was
Right.
behaving in ways that don't
Yes.
suit him.
And even if he was always good and always the Boy Scout and doing everything right, that wouldn't make him boring either. So
Like we have the original Superman, like Christopher Reeve.
yeah, he was always good. So
He was like.
I think that his main
Superman.
point is that characters having some form of set makes them interesting, which for the most part I agree with.
yeah, because he did show Ray on the screen, and she's not boring because she's good. She's boring because she's all powerful.
Because she doesn't have any weaknesses. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons.
Didn't he say like it's boring because it's a perfect character?
I guess
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I don't want to rewind this guy.
He's so quick with the editing. I have a hard time following.
Yeah,
Uh,
his arguments are very.
Well, I think that
off the
he's
cuff.
not structuring his argument well, but I agree with what he's saying. What he's saying is there are two kinds of weaknesses in a character. There are setbacks in terms of power, where someone can have something that they're not powerful, like they have some kind of weakness.
Right.
And there's also moral setbacks where a person has a characteristic that makes them make selfish decisions, like someone that suffers from addiction. On one hand, you could call that a weakness. On the other hand, you can say they're selfish for giving in to that addiction. He should have made it like two separate arguments because it gets a little bit blended, but I do agree with what he's trying to say. I just think his wording could have been better, but I completely agree with him actually.
Yeah, so
I don't think Superman is a good example.
yeah,
Um,
like with Gandalf, he's a good person, but he's not boring. Like he's all the fellowship is
did
interesting.
he use Gandalf as an example? I
No,
don't
but
think he
he's
did.
saying because they're always good, they're boring, and I'm like, that's weird. Like Ray is boring, but not because.
Yeah, that's why I said for the most part I agree with him, because I think there are examples of characters that, and very rarely are these kinds of characters protagonists. Like characters that don't quite have a clear weakness, or that aren't clearly suffering from some kind of moral issue. Like Gandalf is a perfect example of that, but he's like the Ben Kenobi type character where he's not the protagonist. Maybe
Sure.
that's another thing that he should have brought up, is that he's mainly talking about protagonists, because I wouldn't be surprised if you were to bring up Gandalf to this guy, he might like Gandalf and think he's well done. I just don't think he thought through characters other than protagonists.
Well, even with ensemble casts, like look at Star Trek, we have like everyone's a good person in Star Trek. It's like Picard is like this diplomatic, lawful fellow who will always argue and do what's right, and he's a good guy. So I don't see him as boring. I don't, just because he's always that way and morally centered. So I don't know exactly. I need a better example, because Superman is like, here's a bad movie. I don't like him, but he doesn't fit your criteria for boring. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think Superman was a bad example.
Yeah. Anyway.
In fact, there's a lot of superhero type characters that are pretty fucking boring. And this is despite them always doing the right thing. You see, someone like Tony Stark, for example, titular Iron Man.
He's not morally good. He's kind of gray. He's got his own ambitions and demons and...
I think he's actually about to say that this is a good example.
Oh, okay.
Let
And
me see,
is
I
a
might
lot
be
more
wrong.
interesting because despite him eventually going and doing the right things, he started off as a fucking war profiteer and arms dealer, which is a pretty heavy subject matter in this day and age.
Yeah.
See, Tony Stark was just Sundowner the entire time, and instead of capturing children, he eventually got captured himself and then became a force of good. Like the good old
that's-
days after 9/11. However,
Really?
despite this, I'd say it's one of the reasons
Yeah, he was
why
saying that
super
Tony Stark is a
villains
good
are
example.
often the much more interesting characters because they are doing morally wrong things, but there's a reason for it. They either have trauma, revenge, they're crazy, who knows. Good people.
Okay, so his argument is not they're good characters morally, they're good characters in terms of I'm interested in them because they're motivated by a reason we understand.
Yeah, he's using the word good like in a way that can be confusing
Yeah.
because he's like he's sometimes when he says good, you have to think about the context of what he's saying. It's like, wait, is he saying a guy that's a good guy or is he saying a guy that's a well-written guy?
Yeah, so the argument we like villains more is because they are the driving conflict of the story. We are motivated to read and find out how the heroes are going to deal with them. And all their things thwart the heroes. So they are the main source of conflict and hurdles that the party has to deal with. So that's why we like good villains. Without the villain, they need a series of other villains or a series of other conflicts to deal with. And that's why we read about the heroes, how they overcome their problems. All right. Okay, I think I understand this guy a bit more.
Exhausted, huh?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have like a moral or ethical discussion. It's like, no, I like this guy because he's evil. It's like, what? He's a good character. Like, oh,
I actually really like his argument. I just wished he used better wording
yeah.
and better examples too. Although the only example I disagree with so far is Man of Steel.
Oh yeah. And well, this one I guess I can agree with. I haven't watched this movie, but
Captain.
yeah, Miss Marvel or whatever her name is, Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Captain
People
Brie
do the right thing because it's right. Villains do the wrong thing for insert slew of reasons. And that's what creates interesting backstory. That's what makes the superhero villains generally more interesting than the heroes. At least to me. Villains who are evil just to be evil are generally really boring unless there's something else going for them, i.e. someone like the Joker, who his entire mysterious persona, not only that, but also the way he acts and his personality is what makes him interesting, despite the fact that he's, just a force of crazy chaos. Hell, Michael Myers is just pure evil, but he's interesting just from his aesthetic alone. So when good people who normally make the right choice, and I'm gonna say good people, not protagonists, because there can be evil protagonists plenty, when they end up making something that is the wrong choice or the morally wrong choice, when is it acceptable?
Okay, so that's at least an argument. I remember DS9. Guys, remember the famous episode in the Pale Moonlight, where Cisco is paying the price for preventing a war by getting 2 people killed or something like that. I can't remember the cost. And he's staring at the camera and he's making a log and he's drinking and he's looking, is this the right choice? And at the end, he erases the log because he doesn't want anyone to find out about it. That is an example of a person in a military leadership position realizing he has to kill people for the greater good. And that was such a powerful story because the way it was told in the frame and the flashbacks and all that stuff was intriguing enough as a medium of TV for us to go, ooh, this is different. This is not your typical Star Trek. And Cisco is definitely a different captain than the rest. So that worked well. He was doing something immoral for a greater good. Same with Batman. He's doing low forms of crime like tying people up and punishing them and beating them up to get information to prevent a greater crime from occurring, like mass deaths or whatever the criminal of the week has a master plan for. So that is, I think, what he's getting at. The good guys doing some bad stuff for a greater good.
When is it acceptable for someone who is generally good-natured to do something wrong? And of course, wrong can be two things. Technically, which is, going in the wrong door, missing a shot with their gun, just doing something mechanically incorrect, or morally wrong, like being selfish or thinking for themselves or leaving someone to die. Now, the answer here is obvious. When is it acceptable for someone to act out of character? And the answer is simply when it's been set up heavily beforehand. There's a movie I enjoy because I'm a sick fuck. It's called Green Room. Green Room is about a young band that gets stuck in the green room.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was the green door. My apologies.
Yeah, totally different.
I was like, oh no. Maggie made fish memories. Like, oh shit, this guy did not watch a 70s porno. I was like, okay, good.
It's a porno, yeah.
Okay, good.
By a
Yeah.
Nazi group at a neo-Nazi bar they didn't realize they were playing at. It's a pretty grisly film, but it's my perfect example of horror movie characters doing dumb things and it being completely acceptable. Both sides, the band and the skinheads, are completely inept in their own ways. The band is freaking the fuck out right now. They're not thinking straight. They are in a whole shitload of problems right now. And the skinhead group, led by Patrick Stewart, of all people, is just completely disorganized and they're having lots of issues within. So an inept neo-Nazi group and scared shitless band kids are going at each other and they both do stupid things, but it works for the context of the story. On the flip side, there's a movie I really like called Event Horizon, but in Event Horizon, it's all a whole bunch of very well-trained spacefaring people, and the first third act of the movie, they're pretty dumb. They split up a lot, don't check in enough, they go out and they just do very dumb things in the first act. It doesn't make sense for the characters because they're so highly trained people. They were here for this main mission to find this ship and they end up acting like morons despite the myriad of examples that things have gone wrong. Now later on in the movie, Sam Neill starts making dumb decisions, but those work because he's got his own motives and all that stuff. But in the beginning, it really rubbed me the wrong.
If you guys haven't watched Event Horizon, don't. It's just bad.
I heard that it was unfinished even.
The uncut version, whatever they released on the DVD, it just shows gore of the hell. Because the whole idea is that you find some guy, Sam Neill made an engine that uses energy from another dimension, and that dimension is hell. And
so it's Doom.
it's a boring version of Doom, and the uncut scenes just have a bunch of people tied to racks getting impaled and cut up, and it's why is this a thing? It's very boring. It has a lot of big key names in there, and it's slow. It's just a horror bullshit. And there's some funny scenes, but that's about it. It feels like an Alien ripoff, but just boring and slow, and all very dark. And yeah. I don't know. People like it because
you don't like realism.
It's so cheesy. It's really cheesy. It's like an expensive 70s sci-fi flick, like a B movie. Anyway.
Wrong way. The harder thing to discuss is when a character makes a morally wrong decision. And this is the one that takes a lot more to get right. Because in order for you to make a character go completely against their main code, so to speak, it has to be set up pretty heavily beforehand. I find this particularly annoying on the flip side for superhero films because often I feel like the character didn't really go through either one, enough training, or two, enough of an emotional, moral adjustment for them to just stand up and decide, I'm gonna fight crime.
Hello, my name is Barry Allen.
In fact, this is actually one of those things that was discussed in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie when they're talking about why they want to save the galaxy.
Because I'm one of the idiots who lives in it.
Now, an example of a character in a movie going against their character for something that I thought was really just not set up well and dumb was in the Halloween remake a few years back. There was a doctor character in the Halloween remake that ends up, I think, killing someone about on the end of the second act of the film. And it's supposed to be this big twist. He just kills someone so he can understand why Michael Myers does it or something like that, and then Michael Myers just kills him immediately anyway, and then it's basically entirely done just to get Myers to the Laurie Strode house. And it's really contrived and incredibly stupid. And it wasn't set up enough. The doctor wasn't set up enough that he was that morbidly curious to make him do something like this. On the other side, Walter White, I mean, the guy goes through a million mental hoops and they all pull off. He starts off as a good guy doing good things, to a good guy doing bad things, to a bad guy doing bad things, to a bad guy doing some really fucking bad things, and then back to like redemption. It's a whole thing. It's a whole arc, and you believe every second of it because you understand the character and how it's set up. You know why Walter is refusing the money for...
Okay, so it doesn't seem to me like it doesn't really matter whether they're doing good or bad things. You just have to understand why, which is pretty much the sole arguments we've ever made on any kind of critique or show we watch. It's like, why is this guy doing it this way? If he wants X, why doesn't he just go get X? Why is he jumping around and doing all this other shit and wasting everyone's time? And why do we have all these side characters wasting our time? Like, just do the thing you're supposed to do. Do the plot. Get your thing. Get the golden fleece. Win the girl's heart. Whatever you're doing. Like, just go do it. That's what we're here for. And if we understand that, we have a good character with good motivations. That's it. He's trying to wrap this around, I guess, the example of Breaking Bad because he likes it. We understand he's a doctor. Then he gets cancer. Then he realizes he could make money selling drugs, so he makes drugs and blah, blah, blah.
Well, he wasn't a doctor. He was a
teacher. Sorry, teacher. Did he get his PhD? No, I don't think he got his PhD. I think he got his master's.
He was, I think, a PhD.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but he was a high school teacher.
Right. Okay. Well,
And working the car wash.
Either way, we understand his plight. He wants to live. He doesn't have enough money for treatment. So he starts making money. A lot of money.
And then I guess it just sort of changes because he gets addicted to the power that he has. Becomes more of a selfish asshole.
Yeah, we understand that he's connected to other people that causes him to be greedy or whatever the case is. There's lots of reasons for that. I think to Bricky, that's more interesting to him than the good guy being good because he has a tragic backstory and his village burned down. And he doesn't want anyone else to lose their family in a fire or whatever. So that's it. That's all I get from this so far.
Yeah.
His key because he feels like less of a man by doing so. He always feels like he's just living an uneventful, unenjoyable, and overall uninteresting life. And handouts is the last thing he needs right now for his own mental health and, well, ego. And now we can finally get to the part of the video.
Oh, I'm sorry to pause it, but we hit the 10-minute mark, so I don't know if you wanted to invite Whisp and
oh boy. Okay, let's try one at a time because that'll slow it down, or that'll speed it up a little faster. Actually, let's get Nicolacon because I think he's on the first on my list here. I think does Nicolacon want to come in?
Yes. I don't know. That's what Mateo said.
Let me try it, Nicolacon. All right, stagger our guess.
I just feel like he's trying to like make the yet another argument for like let your good characters have some flaws in them.
You could say the exact same for bad characters. You could say the same for secondary characters. You could say the same for tertiary characters. Yeah, just whoop-de-doo.
Otherwise, they are not going to be interesting to the reader.
Yeah, when you introduce a character, you tell them why they exist. Why are they in this story? Are they helping the main plot or not? If they're hurting it, that's good. Like if they're just there for cosmetics or plot devices, then who cares?
Yeah, like right now I'm like writing a review for Berserk. Big surprise. And Guts is like extremely nihilistic at the very beginning of the manga. But like there's like that one moment after the fight where he tells a girl to like just kill herself. And that like gets her so mad that like she venges that on Guts because he killed her father. And Guts, while he's like walking away, he starts crying because like you can see that like he's actually sorry for like what he did. Yeah, that's like a really bad thing that like someone can do to like go kill yourself. But like, it's also like he did it just so like she doesn't commit suicide because like she was almost about to. Like she didn't have anything else to lose at that point.
Right. Okay. Yeah, let's just keep going for another few minutes, and we'll bring someone else in. Nicholcon isn't there, so, but we'll wait.
Okay.
We'll wait. It's okay.
All right.
Which is the reason why I wanted to make this video in general. We can finally stop setting up everything and start yelling. This entire video, the whole want for me making this video was from one game, The Last of Us. The Last of Us 1, not 2.
Oh god, the first one. Oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Thankfully, he's talking about
Is the first one actually a good game or?
Yep.
It's fine. I don't know. It's ruined for me now that part 2 exists. So I just don't
I
care
know,
anymore.
but it's just like I know that when it came out, like people were like praising it, but at the same time they were calling it a walking simulator.
Yeah, the AI
There aren't
was
that
not,
much choice in.
Yeah, the AI was not up to par that was shown at one of the E3 demos, I think.
Yes.
And there was like, this is a pretty easy game. It's all about the drama and the cutscenes and some of the puzzles, but other than that, if you don't like those characters, you're not going to care for it.
Yeah. You just pick stuff up, craft it, use stealth, kill your opponents, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, ironically, like the second one is like something that like they actually
that's
fixed the
That's
gameplay.
That's why they created speed runs now, because you can cheese the game.
Oh boy.
All right.
But they do speedruns of every single game. Maybe not Ace Attorney because there's just no reason.
All right.
Not 2. That's a whole thing there. Last of Us 2 will require like a 3-hour video for me and multiple playthroughs to truly say what I want to say about that game, and I don't have the time for that. So, the first game, Joel is a character we know, and he is the greatest of guys.
He ain't even hurt.
How did you know
Know what?
about the ambush?
I've been on both sides.
Oh,
Now, it's hard to stick Joel in an alignment chart based on his prior actions, but he kind of bounces around here and there throughout the game. Now, I beat Last.
Well, I mean, it's the apocalypse. Everyone's on both sides. You're doing what you can do to survive.
I doubt that there's gonna be lawful good people in the apocalypse.
Yeah, and we're talking about a lot of gray characters, which happens most of the time in these stories and settings anyway. So,
Yeah, even like something like Walking Dead, it's like somebody's got a kid, somebody's got a starving, somebody's got a whole village to think about.
yeah, and I guess we're making the argument that Joel is like, if the lawful good whatever scale, he's like 60% good, 40%, get the hell out of my way or I'll kill you.
Evil.
Yeah. So I think that's what he means by good in double quotes. It's like he's a good guy, but yeah, he kills people if you get in his way. So again, not the best criteria or the best example for his criteria that he brought up previously.
For all stories, even movies.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with having great characters in general, especially when the setting fits, because post-apocalyptic, everyone's striving for survival anyway. But his criteria didn't match that, so I'm kind of curious why he brought that up with his setup. And now he's just going into gray post-apocalyptic world. It's like, yeah, we get it. We understand the setting. And once you understand the setting, then it's like, oh, yeah. If someone goes around killing people, it's like, okay, yeah. I'm not as shocked because
So does he enjoy just post-apocalyptic stories then?
maybe he likes the characters and the scenarios in that sort of genre or setting. I don't know. But that's just what a lot of people like the post-apocalyptic genre. They love stories like that. So, or the dystopian
Well, I
features,
know.
or there's all subgenres and stories like that. So
That's all out. I don't know what an example.
Anything by Neil Schusterman. He does a lot of future sci-fi stuff like that. I covered his books a few years ago. The Thunderhead was one example. But it was like a dystopian future where everyone's clinically immortal, and we have basically Uber Google, who's who just does everything for us, and what happens when it goes away, and how do we survive. And there's a whole, it's called the Scythe trilogy. There's a whole group of monks, pretty much, who operate outside of Uber Google, and they kill people. So because overpopulation is real, and we have to cull all humanity, which is ridiculous, because I don't know if you remember that Star Trek episode where everyone's bouncing around in
I remember that.
in brightly colored body one pieces on a planet. They're just slammed together like sardines everywhere on the planet. I'm like, wait.
Yes, because they have no viruses or bacteria.
Yeah, there's no like underground. There's no like I don't know, spaceships. Everyone's slammed together, and they're all like that because they believe not in birth control. They believe all life is precious, and you're like, okay, yes, but there is a limit to being happy and being able to walk, being able to walk down the street and not bump into someone every meter. So it's a bit ridiculous, but that was the premise. So
that was like a classic, like not classic, but like a third season episode, because like it's so dumb. Just think about it. It's Star Trek.
It's so silly.
Have spaceships.
It's beyond crazy, because you're like, oh, we love life so much. We have just as much technology as everyone else. It's like, so you've solved hunger. You just haven't figured out. You haven't figured out real estate yet. It's like, okay, that's weird. So yeah, no, it was one of those episodes. But this is part of the Scythe trilogy where there's not as stupid as that, but the scythes, these warrior monks that go around. Pretty much cull the herd. And there's a big mystery as to why they even exist and why no one has gone to the stars, because they have all this technology. Why haven't they traveled beyond the moon? And it's a big conspiracy, and it's all in the future where everyone's immortal. And it would make a really cool, and I think they try to make it into a miniseries on like Netflix or whatever, but I never took off yet. It's been several years, so I doubt I'll see the light of day. But it's a really cool series. I reviewed it on my channel years ago, so check it out. Okay.
Last of Us 1 maybe like 12 times, and that's me lowballing it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I still think it holds up magically. So a few years back, I actually streamed it, and at the end of the game, I put the entire chat in emote-only mode so no one spoil anything, and just let it play out, because many people had never played it before, and they were watching it for their first ever time. If you need a refresher, this is when the Fireflies end up taking Ellie and are going to go ahead and do surgery on the cordyceps in her brain, ending up killing her in order to make a vaccine. And Joel takes this pretty well.
Where was the operating room? I ain't got time for this. Where?
What is that music?
So he goes out and kills about 30 people, maybe more, breaks into the operating room, and then the head surgeon is right there, and he says, bro, don't even try. My daughter is fucking jacked, and she plays golf. You'll regret this. He ignores this warning, steals Ellie, and then kills their leader. And then he proceeds to lie to Ellie about the entire thing, and Ellie cautiously accepts it. Roll credits. This is genuinely one of my favorite endings in video games ever, because it's brutal, morally difficult to handle, abrupt like a lot of the rest of the game, and promotes a ton of discussion. When I took my chat out of emo only mode, there was a slew of opinions, many people angry with what Joel had decided to do, many people thinking that he was terribly in the wrong and how dare he do what he did, other people kind of with him on this whole situation. There was lots of gray, lots of back and forth, yes, no, maybe, etc. A lot of discussion with this ending is determined by the question, is what Joel did right? Was what he did a good thing or acceptable? A huge base.
Yes, he saved the kid.
Yes, as we found out, like there was no guarantee for the vaccine.
I'm sorry, I know people don't like this decision of what he did, but it's just, yeah, I've always found it weird of like, why wouldn't you save the little girl? It's not like she consented anyway.
Right. Even though we know that she would have, but she was never asked. There's no guarantee.
Well, no. Well, she would have when we find that out later, but we don't know if in that exact moment would she have been ready to die for a cure that probably wouldn't even work.
Right, and that's sort of the weirdness, because apparently they did this before with other people who were supposedly also like her. and they just killed a person and didn't find anything out. And you're like, what? So you're just going to cut up someone's brain to find gold and you hope you find something? Like what? Yeah. So
Yeah, because it's a fungus. There's apparently a cream for your brain.
if they explain the technique more, the lore a little bit better as to why they're doing this procedure, that would be better. Like if they just wanted to study her, that would be great. Like take blood samples and test the blood. That would make a hell of a lot more sense because you can make an antibody or something out of that. But they wanted to cut her open and kill her just to snoop around, and I'm like, that's the dumbest shit. Like who the hell would think that's a good idea? There has to be a project or a thesis or some sort of brain there going, okay, this is going to give us some insight into the structure of the virus and how it operates, how old she is when she got it, and we'll compare that to previous data, and we can start making even more theories. Like there has to be something more to this to be justified outside of, we're going to cut her open and find out what's there.
I don't know. It just feels like it's rushed, or the Fireflies are really moronic in thinking that it would just make a cure on the whim.
And I don't even think the second game properly explained that either. It's just sort of, we're going to cut her open and she's going to die. That we're hoping for the best because we don't know what to do. It's like, you don't know what to do, really? You could not perform some tests on her blood. There's nothing in her blood that makes her unique. It's all in her brain.
Can't just cut a small piece, maybe.
You could take.
You have to take the entire thing.
You could take some spinal fluid. You could take some blood just from the brain. You could do all sorts. You could do like a little sliver of tissue from the brain. You can do all sorts of wonderful tests that you'd be like, okay, like even if you knew she was going to die, you still would have to like have a really good reason why she has to die right now, because you would want to build up to that. Like, Ellie, okay, we took some blood.
I think this is kind of similar to what happened in the Avengers, where it's difficult to sympathize with Thanos because it's very easy to come up with more reasonable alternatives. Like you could just use the Infinity Stones to wish for, like, just generate more resources, rather than having to cut the population in half.
Oh God!
You just double the resources.
Yeah, his solution is insane. Like it's,
well, that's the thing, is that the more insane the antagonist's argument is, the more the writer is obligated to make that insanity justifiable. Like you really have to go out of your way to explain why the antagonist could arguably be right if you're going to make what they're doing this radical.
Yeah, I remember, and especially when you're talking about like killing people. I remember an episode of Star Trek, and there's a lot of these weird Star Trek episodes. They encounter this godlike being who wants to just experiment on the crew. He starts killing them, and Picard is sitting in his whatever room, and he's like, "Okay, what do you think? We're gonna blow up the ship? Yeah, blow up the ship. What do you think? Good time limit? 20 minutes. Nice round number. It could have been 21. It could have been 25. It could have been. It's like, no, we are not causing our people to suffer. Everyone's gonna die.
You mean Nagilum?
Nagilum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was so creepy. I remember like that was the first TNG episode I saw, and I was like, what
You're crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like 6.
Oh shit. Wow. Yeah, I know there's a
You were 6?
There's a lot of those weird, like really powerful beings in Star Trek TNG, and the crew are like, what is going? Like they don't know what the hell's going on, and then like everyone knows Q because he's like goofy, but there's
Q's the shit.
There's Kevin.
Everybody loves Q.
There's Kevin Uxbridge, who like he's some species that is almost like a Q, who was part of not a war, but he wanted to just live on the planet with his fake house with his fake wife to live in penance because he wiped out like billions of lives with a thought.
Yeah.
There was the Masterpiece Society, I think it was called, or something like that, where there was a planet that threw the Enterprise like a week away or a month away because they wanted all their kids, they couldn't reproduce. They were so enlightened. So they took all the kids.
I remember that one.
It was like, what?
Yeah.
So there's all these supremely powerful beings that just can't do the basics of life or whatever. And with Nagilum was like, okay, 20 minutes, good round number. And all Nagilum wanted was to...
Well, actually, I think with the parents with the kids, I think it was just their technology.
Yeah.
I think they had like a force field that
yeah,
did it.
the
I don't
field
think it
was making them sterile, and they didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was just like,
Throw you.
and they're like, where are we? What the hell happened?
So I always go back to Nagilum because it's like, yeah, we're not going to put up with your crazy, murderous ways of experimenting on us. We're going to blow up the ship. And Picard looks to Riker, and Riker's like 20 minutes. Nice round number. Like, okay.
Oh, I think I know what episode you're talking about. That was with that one, like that giant head that was talking to him or
Yes.
something.
It looks like
that,
a mix between a cat and a human.
Yeah. He had a really deep,
It's
squeaky
like-
voice.
He was just like, yeah, we're just gonna blow it up.
Yeah. Not argue. And then all Nagilum wanted was like an existential moment on existence for Picard to talk about life and death. That's all he wanted. He's like, what? Oh. So stuff like that, like you have to like, why 20 minutes, Riker? Because we're going to have that 10-minute conversation with Nagilum where he impersonates Troy and Data to talk about what a mistake. You should not blow up the ship, Picard. No. It's like, okay. Anyway. Gotta justify your crazy murderous ways. That's all you gotta do.
Why is it always like I have to blow up the ship? Like even like Kirk and some other captain
They didn't do it
decides
that
to do that.
much. They didn't do it that often.
They were threatening the enemy that like I'm gonna do that.
I think there was only one episode where we actually saw Kirk and Spock click the button.
Yes.
It happened
I can't remember that.
way more
episode.
times in TNG, yeah, for sure. That ship blew up like at least 7 or 8 times.
I mean, Kirk actually did it in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
Oh yeah.
Man, I
Jeez.
don't even remember how many times the ship is blown up now in
Yeah.
Star Trek.
So mass genocide, big things need big reasons for them to happen, or else the audience is like, "What the hell is going on?" So, anyway, 14 minutes.
For this argument is the ineptitude of the Fireflies. Constantly throughout the game, the Fireflies are shown as getting their shit kicked in or being massively disorganized all the time. They are fractured and experienced, bordering on inept as a rebel organization. The military is beating them down. Their science endeavors aren't working. One of their head scientists had cordyceps infected monkeys and got bit by his own monkeys and had to shoot himself. Rest in peace, Steve Blum. And then they literally knock Joel out while he is giving CPR to the savior of humanity, one of the only, if not the only, immune people in the world. So they take her right after that fact and under 24 hours already plan on operating on her and killing the only immune person in the world without any kinds of tests, observations, or anything in between. See, personally, I don't think this was planned by Naughty Dog. I think it's just kind of a happy accident that they came off as so inept, because it more so was just a way to get Joel to do what he did and have kind of a time limit going along with it. But despite this whole thing, the Fireflies appear to be very reckless, disorganized, and inept at their job. So with the prior knowledge in the Fireflies and their poor way of handling Ellie, we can generally infer that what Joel did was actually pretty justified at the end of the day because of, you know, like what was going to happen, right? No, shut the fuck up. No, God fucking damn it. No, it's not. It doesn't fucking matter. The Firefly.
Wait, what do you mean it doesn't matter?
Sorry, I was kind of spaced out. What was he saying?
I don't know.
He's
Said
like
what Joel did was pretty much justified, and we can all agree on that. And now he's like, no, that's not true. We're gonna see what he says.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Is it gonna be the second game or is it just like the first game again?
I
I
don't
think
know.
he's just gonna focus on the first game, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know why he said that, because that's a pretty strange thing to blurt out. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, because he himself pretty much explained why it's more reasonable to think what Joel did was justified, because the Fireflies were so inept on their side. It's like, yeah, you could argue that in the hypothetical scenario where killing Ellie is going to save everybody, then you could probably argue, yeah, go ahead and do that. But he's saying the Fireflies don't have that argument because they're so inept that it's possible and even likely that they're not going to get a cure by killing Ellie.
So then
But now
Joel
he's going
isn't
back on
justified. Okay. Oh God.
We're going to see.
All right. Anyway.
Mean nothing. The point of their experience means nothing. Their ineptitude means jack fucking all, because none of it matters to Joel. It drives me up a wall every time I hear this argument. Well, the Fireflies were so dumb. Well, the Fireflies is this. I don't give a fuck what the Fireflies are about, because Joel didn't give a fuck what the Fireflies were about.
I see.
Do you think Joel...
Wait a second. They all.
I see what he's saying from Joel's perspective, how inept the Fireflies were doesn't really play a part in his decision making.
Well,
And I guess
Right.
you could
It's
argue
selfish. Okay.
yeah, but
that. I guess you could argue that.
they all went to the Fireflies because that was the goal of the story. And once they get there, they say, okay, now we could, figure out what's wrong. How do we help humanity, if anything? The problem was the way he was treated didn't reflect that sort of goal in mind. It wasn't all, oh, hey, Joel, thanks for coming by. It was like, let me beat you over the head, take all your stuff, and not tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Well, even then, it's like you're gonna kill a little girl. I don't care what you're about anymore, because that's what you're about. You're about killing the little girl. Why wouldn't I stop that? Why would I be happy about that? You
Yeah,
didn't
that's
talk to
pretty
me, you didn't talk
simple
to her.
Yeah.
motive.
It's not hard, right? It's just. Oh man.
right. Okay.
for a second gave a literal single fucking shit about the ineptitude of the Fireflies. He was sitting there waiting. He was like, oh, that's really irresponsible of them to be operating on her so soon. How dare they? No, of course not. This is Joel's choice, not mine, not the players. It is his choice. He doesn't give a flying fuck. They could have been the most perfect angel wing humanitarian organization, and he still would have gone to murder spree. It could have been
Wait. Okay. No.
If they were good people, why are they killing a girl?
He's getting a little too hypothetical now.
Yeah, if everything was gold, if they treated him with open arms, they explained the procedure, they said, hey, Joel, this might not work. If they asked consent from Ellie, and he was aware of that, and she was aware of that, and she wanted to do it, he'd be like, okay, this is what she wants. I don't have any say in this.
Yeah, we don't really, because it's all hypothetical at this point. We don't really know how Joel would react if the situation was presented completely differently.
Yes, your motivation.
He's getting a little too hypothetical to me.
If you are treated like shit, all your survival gear is taken away, the girl you care about is gone, and you have to go through guards in a life and death struggle just to find out what's going on, you're pretty justified in doing whatever you're wanting to do. And I think he meets up with was it Nina or whatever her name is, to help him out, and she like helps him out, but she also kills her because she's part of the problem or whatever. It's like it's all
talking about the black girl.
Yeah, whatever. I can't remember her name.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so it all makes sense within his character, and I think that's what he's trying to argue. But we understand that because he was treated like shit. And you don't do that to your savior. You don't...
Yeah, and this guy's argument seems to be that despite how clearly villainous they were behaving, his argument is even if they did behave in an understandable way and in a reasonable way, Joel still would have gone apeshit. And that's too hypothetical for me to accept personally.
Right. I think he would put up a fight. I think he would argue with Ellie. I think he'd get pissed off. He'd start crying. And he'd either...
But we don't know if he would go Punisher on everybody.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, because everyone's like... If everyone's in agreement...
He only went Punisher because like they were doing the operation and they were like taking him away, and so he just quickly fought the guy or whatever, grabbed his gun and started going Hail Mary. And I'm just... It is basically like hypothetical. Like, if it was in a different light, how would he be?
Exactly.
And I don't think he would have just went Punisher on everyone.
Yeah, no, there would definitely be a few arguments, to put it lightly. It wouldn't just be, oh, this is what she wants. Okay, bye. Like, no, he'd be, he would be holding someone's hand. They'd be holding him back. They'd say, listen, this is what you went for. He'd be destroyed a little bit on the inside. He would be a little less of a wreck, but he would not have gone crazy.
Maybe he would have gone back to drinking. I don't know.
Possibly. I don't. There's lots of wonderful moments that you could speculate on, but the setup is perfectly justifiable.
But yeah, this guy seems to think that
and
he
it's
would
simple.
react in the exact same way.
Yeah, and you could just boil it down to, we have this bond with Ellie, Joel has this bond with Ellie. We know his backstory. He thinks of her as his baby girl, and you took away his daughter. You're gonna die. That's simple. So
I don't even get the player likes Ellie. Like, you are bonding. Like, you are the character. You are bonding with Ellie. Like, I just don't see how you would be on the opposite spectrum. Yeah, let her die. They're doing the right thing. Okay.
yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Or of puppies and kittens, and he would have gone around declawing with a fucking M4. If Ellie's operating room was centered in the Jedi Temple, Anakin would look like Gandhi. Joel slaughters this facility. He slaughters a operational medical facility in the post-apocalypse because he wants to save his new daughter. The game has set this up because the game has culminated over an entire year of in-game time, that relationship between him and Ellie, the realization of his dead daughter from pre-apocalypse, and then everything going on with him finally accepting her into his life and the trauma they've been through and all of that. Joel has finally accepted his new daughter and finally broken out of that painful shell that he's been living in for so long, and that is why he murders a huge amount of people in an operational medical facility at the end of the world. Because whether or not you agree with his actions doesn't mean fucking anything. Joel may not have always...
Well, you have to actually justify to the audience why he's doing it. It may not be the best reason, but there has to be a reason, or else it becomes goofy. It becomes B-movie schlock, where explosions are cool and Rambo moments are cool and Joel is cool and he has a gun and the other guy's head exploded. So you have to give us a reason, and we know the reason. We're not dumb. We played the game. So, all right. Here is Gasoline Chugger. Thank you for the one. The Fireflies were complete dicks and deserved to die. Yep, that seems pretty clear. They were too stupid to live, but The Last of Us isn't good because the good guy did a bad thing. That's imbecilic. It's good because it's a well-written story of a bitter old man learning to love again. There you go. Very human emotion, very clear. Not that complicated.
Been a good person. He generally wasn't, but he was becoming a good person. He was letting that hard shell break down and trying to become a better person. Thanks.
I wouldn't mind Clint Eastwood playing him.
Who's playing him? The guy from the spearman from
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, from Game of Thrones.
Got it.
Oh, right.
So I don't know when that's coming. Is that Netflix or is that Amazon? I don't remember. Probably Netflix.
HBO.
Oh, it's HBO.
Wait, are you talking about the Last of Us show, right?
Yeah, it's coming out. I don't know when.
With Pedro?
Pedro, yeah.
Pedro Pascal.
Oh, the Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. Okay.
I have like some doubts that like, is he behind the armor or is just the stunt guy?
If your whole job is to put a helmet on and walk around with laser guns and do fun stuff, I mean, that's a pretty sweet job. So
yeah, I would love that. Just to, like, say a few lines.
We don't even know. We don't know if that's his.
Like,
yeah, we don't know if he's acting. He could just be doing voice dubbing. We'd have no clue. All right.
Barely speaks, so yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
To Ellie. And so by the end of the game, he's tough and ruthless, but he is better and is allowed to make such a horrifying decision and then lie about it because it was so excellently set up. Oh my God, you have no idea how.
Well, no. He lies about it because it's within his character, not because it was set up well. That's
After like Ellie has been like through all that crap, like I think like it could have been like allowed for Joel to make a lie.
Yeah,
because like it's how would Ellie would react? It like, yeah, I murdered the entire Fireflies facility because I wanted you to get out of there alive.
Let me terrify my new daughter on what just happened while she was sedated. Like, yeah, probably not a good idea. Make her feel happy and secure and safe.
Yeah, a lot of it was just she was hoping something good would come out of it, and it just went shit, basically.
Right.
Because the Fireflies are dickheads.
Yeah, and do you really want to tell, hey, honey, a really bad thing happened a few days ago. I want to tell you the truth now. Now that we're on our way, it's like maybe if you really trust her not to freak out and lose her shit, you don't want a young girl or young man who you care about to increase their anxiety in the post-apocalypse. You want them to feel safe and secure, and everyone's okay. Maybe later in life, which is what happens in Last of Us 2, you talk about it because
just out of like part 1 knowledge, because I want to know the lore. Did any one of those Firefly members tell Ellie that like she might die from the operation?
Right.
No.
Yeah, because she would have mentioned that. They would have said, "Oh, someone says."
No. Throughout the whole game, she keeps talking about like what her gonna look like. They never tell her. There's never a scene that explains that like she was just gonna die.
Yeah. All right, here's Krogress again. Kyogray's hideout. Hot take: Conker's Bad Fur Day did the whole slaughtering a corrupt medieval facility scene way better than The Last of Us. Wow.
I mean,
yes. I don't know.
That was the N64, I believe, right?
It was the N64 and original Xbox. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's a very memorable game. Because that was when Nintendo said, "Okay, we'll allow you to make a mature game with." Was it toilet humor
and sunflowers with tits?
Are you talking about Conker's Bad Fur Day?
Yes.
Oh, how big were the tits?
Enough that you can jump on them.
Yeah.
Oh. Trampolines, all right.
All right. I'm here now.
Oh,
How do I sound?
You sound like you're over a loudspeaker.
I don't know why it sounds like that, because these are the same headphones I've used the whole time, and they sounded better.
I think it's when you're close to the mic, it sounds kind of muffled, but there's a certain sweet spot.
Could also be because Discord changed your settings because it does that.
Yeah, that sucks. It just did it to me today. Yeah.
Sounds like you have an accent.
Yeah, push it away a bit. How do I sound now?
It's fine. We can hear you.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we are 2 minutes almost done. Oh, jeez, that was. I like what he's saying. He's just saying it in a way that I don't like. It's a weird feeling. It's like I get what he's saying.
That was what I said at the beginning.
Yeah.
I like what he's saying.
I would like to touch back on the hypothetical, if the Fireflies were good and perfect, Joel would have still done it. Because I believe that Joel would have still done it if the Fireflies were good and perfect too.
I think he would have the motivation to do it and would have start fighting, but then he would not have killed everyone. I think he would have been held back. I think they would have tried and coerced him to say, "Hey, Ellie's okay with this. You don't have authority over her life," and etc. etc. It's a tough.
Well, I don't see. I honestly don't see how though. What would prompt him to just start murdering?
Well, I still think he would save Ellie no matter what, because no matter how bad The Last of Us 2 is, I think there's one scene in that game where Joel is still in character, and that's the flashback scene where he says, "Even after everything we've gone through and you being upset with me, I would have still done what I did."
Oh, from
And that's the one scene where I think Joel's in character in that game.
yeah,
And I think that's why he would still do it.
from Last of
I
Us.
would want to save Ellie.
Yeah, from Last of Us Part 2, right near the end there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think he would have still done it.
I think circumstances are very specific, and scenarios would describe what would happen to Joel and his reactions. And I don't know how it would play out because I don't know the character very well. But you don't go around slaughtering a group of people just because you disagree with them, when everything's pointing to the direction of this is not your choice.
He wouldn't kill them because he disagreed with them. He would kill them because he wants to save Ellie. And that's the important part of his decision, I think.
I think if Ellie said, listen, I got to do this, he would probably back off. I think so, if they respected each other.
Maybe if Ellie was conscious, but if everything was the same as what it was in the game.
Oh, no, for sure, yeah.
I think he would have still taken it.
Oh, God, yeah.
The only difference being that the Fireflies weren't inept and they would have been able to make a vaccine and everything was okay.
Yeah, I think losing your daughter is pretty serious to any kind of parent, even a surrogate parent.
But I do agree if Ellie was awake and she was able to talk him down, I do think that probably would have been the only thing that would have stopped him.
Yeah, I think so. I think her opinion would change his mind. But, getting knocked out, losing all your gear, being told nothing, that would piss anyone off. Okay.
How cathartic it is to finally say this kind of thing. I keep hearing this every single time. It's like, well, Bricky, what are you with the Fireflies? They were so... I don't fucking care. No one should fucking care about how the Fireflies are, because Joel would have done it no matter what, because he wanted to save his daughter, and murdering 30 plus people was more important to him than losing another kid. And I might not be a father, but I'm curious exactly how many...
That's a weird way to say that.
A lot of them would do.
I think he
would be willing to do that.
Yeah, he's got it backwards. Like,
yeah, he said it wrong, but it's fine. We know what he meant.
My brain hurts. I don't know. Okay, whatever.
Fathers out there will be able to make such an easy choice, or see it as an easy choice. I don't think what he did was good at all. I think it was a horrifying loss of life and just like a terrifying murder spree. But I believe he'd do it. I understand why he did it. That's what makes the ending so good, because it's hard to handle, because it's hard to think about, because it ends so abruptly and crazy, and it makes you think like, oh my God, what have I just done? But I believe he'd do it. Let your characters do terrible things. Let your characters be terrible people.
All right. Within the context of The Last of Us, that's fine. Not as a general rule. That's silly.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't want Superman to be a terrible person.
Well, yeah, because they followed his advice for The Last of Us 2, and look how that turned out.
I don't want Gandalf to start murdering hobbits or whatever.
I mean, I think what he's saying is let your characters play with their flaws, not just outright make everyone terrible.
I think he wants to say that, but he's just saying terrible. Be terrible people, and then that makes good storytelling.
Yeah, the Gandalf example is excellent. Like, he didn't do anything really bad about the characters around him.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really think Gandalf might be a good example, because even though he's really important, he's almost like a background character, at least in the movies.
Right.
He's not there very much.
I would say that maybe a better way of constructing his point would be to say something like, allow your characters to develop in a way that is perhaps not ideal.
Yes.
I would argue...
Rather than having the character make the ideal choice, instead it's allow the character to make the choice that they've been designed to make.
I would just say explain your character's behavior. Have them do whatever you want. Just explain why. That is believable. You could have them kill a bunch of people or not. It doesn't make a difference. If you want the story to go in that direction, so long as the average reader goes, would the Pope pull out an AK-47 and just start slaughtering his flock?
That would be so awesome.
That would require a lot of setup. You would have
that makes him more human.
I want an Assassin's Creed game where you play as the Pope.
Oh, the
people. Okay.
Not the
I mean, in
assassin.
Assassin's Creed 2, you kill the Pope.
Right, the opposite. So you play as the what are they called? The
Templars?
Templars, right?
No, I just want to be the full-on Pope.
Yeah, but he's a Templar, right?
Just full-on Pope.
He would be, yes.
with a hat.
The Templars and
Fucking
Assassins are so similar, so
sneaking
I don't know
up
who's
behind
good and
people,
bad.
like fucking jumping off buildings and shit with the hat on, doing all that shit with the hat on.
And
the hat
so
never
also-
falls off.
Fat old man.
See, I would like if the hat falls off because you have to pick it up every time.
He's got the holy water. It's like full of acid. He's like throwing acid up.
Yeah.
No. The hat is made of like those blades. Like, he's kind of like Odd Job. He's throwing his hat.
It's like a
It
Nerf
comes
gun.
back.
Yeah, it's like a plate Nerf gun or whatever. He just launches these plates at people through his hat. Oh god, what a horrible idea.
Mateus is saying there was a missed donation by Giga Chad.
Oh, I don't see it. I don't see Giga Chad.
Giga Chad, where you at?
I see Porcelain is the fourth. Maybe that's the same. This guy is an imbecile. The Last of Us is not good because Joel makes bad decisions. It's good because it's a well-crafted story. If a violent, bitter, lonely old man...
you read that.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, that's... All right. That's the only...
There's no Giga Chad. Okay,
No.
I don't know. I know what he's talking about.
Couldn't tell you. Yeah, there's no...
I mean, I think part of what makes it good is that Joel is understood enough as a character that you could make him do bad things without it seeming like a character.
Yeah, I think we all understand the concept of a character acting the way they properly should, because we understand that, and it doesn't really matter what they do so long as explained. So when we set up a character to say he's a good guy, he's going to do good guy things. He's not going to go around and just suddenly, like the last sentence of a chapter, and just he stabs the hero in the back through the heart, and you're like, whoa. What's that? Because you have to spend the next chapter explaining that. Now, if that's the effect you want, then fine, but you have to spend the time now to explain why this guy did that. That's fine. It's good to set it up beforehand so the audience can see it coming, but there's a fine metric. You don't go too much, you don't go too little. Just a little few breadcrumbs. See, oh, this is going to happen later on. It's foreshadowing. That's what it's called. So. There's a subtle art. In Last of Us, it's blatantly obvious, which works as well. Okay, we have one more donation from Porcelain is the Fourth that just came in. This guy probably thinks people will still like Guts from Berserk if he killed Puck because he got on his nerves, or killed Jill and lost children. Like, no, just making your main hero an asshole won't make people like them.
Yes, like there has to be like a counter for like why he did any of those things in the first place.
Yeah, and we know Guts' backstory, that it's so painful and crazy that all his outbursts make a lot of sense.
Yeah, like he just like doesn't make any exception for these demons. He just wants to kill all the apostles. Really, there's no. He goes full in. Yeah. No half measures, really.
Yeah, you are a demon, you're pretty much gonna die. So
you're gonna die because, like, if you're a demon, that it means that you have sacrificed something precious to you. Because that's the only way you become a demon. Well, most cases.
We have seen him make an exception before, actually.
When?
When they were in the town that was getting invaded before the boat arc.
Oh, well, okay, because like he was so exhausted, he could literally just fall asleep at that point.
Yeah, but he also fought alongside them for a little bit too. Fight the Kushan Emperor.
Yeah, yes, but like that was an exception.
Yeah,
like, that's also like because like his character has like evolved enough that like he just doesn't give a fuck at that point. Because like he was mostly like hunting them before that, and at that point like he just like had to like compensate for that moment.
Yeah, Black Swords and Guts definitely would have probably.
Yes, if he was like alone and he didn't have anyone to protect, because like when he went back to the swordsmith, That's when he realized that like he was neglecting all these precious things in his life.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is he grew into a character that would make him special from that scene.
Yeah.
All right, we got less than 2 minutes. All right.
Let the player or viewer question their mentality. Spec Ops: The Line is an incredible game where I didn't want to do almost a single thing I did in that game. The entire game from start to finish, I was thinking to myself, is this really the right decision? You kill Americans in that game for goddamn nearly the entire thing. To many of you, especially those of you who do any kind of writing, I'm sure this is like writing 101, but something that I really need to talk about and say because it was driving me up a wall, and I can finally point to a video that I made and say, hey, it doesn't matter if you agree with them because I believe they would do it because it is in character and it makes sense. And it's really hard to write characters like that.
No, it's not. You just be consistent. You just say, hey, is this a guy who would do a bad thing? Then yes, then you explain it. You justify his character in there. If he does something the opposite way, then that's called an arc, and you set that up. That's really not hard. So long as it makes sense to the average editor, and they go, yeah, that character did this thing, and that makes sense to me. If he doesn't question it, then you're good.
Maybe nowadays it's hard. I don't know.
Well, if you look at television, yeah, that's for sure. God, there's so much. I thought we had really good TV like the past 10 years, and then all of a sudden this year, what the flying hell happened? I don't know.
Picard season 2.
Episode 9, I just cannot believe that. It's almost like...
You can't believe Picard would do that?
If you're an old man and having flashbacks during a firefight, yeah, I can't believe that. That doesn't make any sense to me. But that whole episode is just... It's like the ending of Mass Effect 3 for television. It's that bad. It is so crazy that I'm watching Strange New Worlds and I'm like, it's not great, but compared to what I just saw, this is amazing. So
maybe Picard was like purposely bad, so it adjusted your measuring, so you can watch Strange New Worlds.
Everything else, the 5 shows, all of them suck except the last one. They went through all their litmus tests, which was live. Let's do it live, guys. Let's see how this works. Everyone hates every show except the last one, which is not Star Trek, but they do a cinematic movie-esque, watered-down, streamlined version of Star Trek. So it's like the sci-fi version of science fiction, which is dumb, but at least you're no longer going to the steakhouse. You're going to the fast food joint. And if it's a burger, it's a good burger. Like you can't compare it to a steak, but that's fine. So
if you want just fast food Star Trek, just watch Voyager.
No, even that has got some science fiction. There's some dumb stuff in there for sure, but there is science fiction there as well. So I think most episodes are worth your time. There are some really bad ones for sure. I think the ones with 7 and 9 are hit and miss. Like The Rock came on one time and she was punching him, and I was like, what does this have to do with
The Rock?
The Rock?
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was the episode.
No, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching Voyager.
Can you imagine Dwayne punching Jerry Ryan? I was like, wow, what the
I had a hard enough time getting used to Whoopi Goldberg on TNG.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg was in it?
Yes, like Whoopi
come
Goldberg
on.
is like one of like the characters that's almost on every single episode. She's a bartender.
She actually wasn't in a lot of them.
Third season. I think it was third season on she was in, or was it 5th season?
Near the end, they get rid of her.
No, I think like there was a season 3 episode.
She was like
Yesterday's
off and on.
Enterprise. Yesterday's Enterprise.
She was like Ensign. She was like Ensign Rowe, where the character disappears for a while.
But maybe the fast food version of Star Trek would be like the Orwell. How you pronounce it?
Orville. Yeah. That's
the Family Guy show.
Yeah.
That's like with Seth MacFarlane, but that's a self-aware parody.
Yeah, that's good because you want to live like the idea of Star Trek is you want to be on that ship. It looks like a good place to go and explore and have fun and have adventures and learn, and that's what you want to do in a Star Trek world. Even with DS9, I wanted to go to DS9. I wanted to go to Quark's. I wanted to order a root beer and talk to him and all. Like, that sounds like fun.
No way! I don't want to die in
And
space.
have a Klingon beat the shit out of you and get robbed.
Imagine being a red shirt on the Kirk or even Picard. Like, oh no!
In Picard,
Like, Q is gonna bully me.
yeah, you don't want to be anywhere near Discovery or Picard or Lower Decks or Prodigy. I don't know what Prodigy is about. But at least in Strange New Worlds, it's like they have the Enterprise and it's gigantic. Like inside the ship is huge. The bridge is like a basketball court. The ready room is like, I don't know. Like, how when you have those giant corporate office desks, like with the big boardrooms.
Yeah.
This is like 30 meters desk. You're like, what is this gigantic room? So everything's huge. You're like, this is really nice. How?
Until the Borg attacks you and it simulates you.
I don't know if there are Borg in... not yet, at least, but I don't think they put him into New Trek at all. But
well, until besides Picard, of course.
Good God, yeah, Picard. Holy shit.
Like I just remember like the first time like the Borg were introduced in TNG, like that was creepy. Like they pulled out an entire part of the hull, the front hull.
The
All
Borg
those,
was awesome.
Yeah, like but they were actually like fearsome.
They fucking drive a Rubik's cube.
Yes. It's actually faster than the Enterprise.
Yeah, they're like, we can go faster. We just don't want to. Oh, look, it's going to warp 9. Let's go to warp 9.1. It doesn't care. It's great. They just adapt to everything, and then Q's like, okay.
And Q in the entire episode is like, hey, guys, are you bored already?
And Picard's like, we're scared. Help us. It's great. And then they ruined it in Voyager, but that's fine. Yeah, that happens. Anyway, almost done. 1 more minute.
Maybe that's why he's dying in Picard.
Because of Voyager.
He's dying in Picard because he's so old.
Yeah, when he speaks, it's like, dude, you are close to 90, Sir Patrick. Please get a drink of water or, I don't know, a shot of brandy. I don't care. Just
he's gonna die mid-episode.
He doesn't. The thing is, if you
Well,
watch
we love killing Patrick Stewart off, don't we?
If you watch these shows, like, he barely does most of the work anyway. It's always someone else doing the heavy lifting and solving the problems of their own. He's just sort of there to lead them, I guess. I don't know.
It's a good thing that in Doctor Strange too, all he does is just sit in the chair.
Perfect.
He's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he dies.
Like, as Professor X comes back, and he's one of the Illuminati.
Does the camera just pan over and he's just like...
No. It's the X-Men cartoon team from '97 playing.
See, now I want to watch. Now I want to watch because I always wanted to hear that in the X-Men movies. I never got it. And even
I can imagine like Spud going to the cinema just watching that one scene and then walking.
Yes, that's all I ever wanted since was it 2001 when the first X-Men movie? I can't remember when it came out.
Somewhere like that. Yeah.
I saw that intro. I was like, I hear a guitar. It's not the X-Men theme. Why? I want the X-Men theme. Give it to me. I'm seeing the X logo. I'm seeing all these DNA molecules. I'm seeing all this shit. It's like, I don't care. Where's the X-Men theme? Even my dad was like, "It's not the same song."
We could just dub the music over the original X-Men movie. So you can just watch that.
I want to see Rogue and Storm flying across the screen and Colossus punching someone, and yeah, that's what I wanted. And then I got a little bit of that next too, but other than that, all the X-Men movies.
Well, we gotta be realistic, okay?
You can't have a 6'2" Wolverine.
No, you gotta have all black, black leather, okay?
I don't mind the colors. They could have hot pink. I don't care.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, for Rogue, yeah.
We'll do that one. A pink Wolverine.
Yeah, it's go crazy. I don't mind. I don't like this realistic. Oh, it's so unbelievable. It's like they're freaking mutants that can travel faster than light or whatever bullshit. It's like, who cares what they look like? So silly. Anyway. That's what they did with the First Class world, I think. They had fun. they actually had fun with the movies. So X3 was a joke. Anyway, we're just stop talking. Stop talking.
That was awesome. It was so stupid.
Anyway, 1 minute. Left.
Oh, Xavier also dies in that movie too.
Yeah, so does Jean Grey. Supposedly.
He dies. There are like more times he dies than there are X-Men movies.
Stop killing Patrick Stewart.
Wait until he dies in real life. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is one of his pet projects is Star Trek. It's pretty sad. So, luckily, the third season is the last season we'll ever see of him, and it's already been filmed.
Oh yeah.
I think it's already been done.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's already in post, I believe.
And
So
Gates
one more shot for embarrassment.
Gates McFadden's in 6 episodes. I'm like, oh god, no, please no, not her. You know why she quit the original Star Trek? Because there wasn't enough issues. She wasn't happy with the racist episode. She didn't like that one, and
Okay.
yeah, she was one of those. She still is, but that's fine. I don't care.
Is that the
probably
actor was playing Tasha Yar? Or
She wanted that. She had a bit of that same argument, but she wanted to do other things because she wasn't doing enough in Star Trek, which is hilarious. Because people would be dying to get a recurring role in Star Trek. But anyway, let's stop talking about that. Let's go back to Bricky.
Completely see the difficulty of being able to properly set up something like that for such a long period of time and really get that payoff when it actually happens and that moral ambiguity. And it is probably so difficult, which is why it's so rare when it actually happens, and it's so rare when it's done so well. And that's the reason why The Last of Us won.
Yes, good writing nowadays is rare, but not specifically morally.
God, this guy talks about The Last of Us 1 like it's the Shawshank Redemption. It wasn't that unbelievably written. It was good, but I mean, my God.
I guess for gaming, I don't know, honestly. I don't know.
I mean, he is admitted, he did say earlier that it was one of his favorite games.
I get that, but I like to compare like Alpha Protocol, like the fact that game exists.
I fucking love that game.
Like that is a game.
I need to. It's fucking great.
It's so cool.
Like yeah, the choices. There's so many options, and the storytelling is compelling enough. The cutscenes are shit, but who the hell cares? The characters are amazing.
The dialogue is great.
Yeah, all of it is fantastic, and it was designed by the team from Chris Avallone, who said we're going to make choice a weapon. We're going to make choice the whole focus, and that was the motif. That was the design. That was the goal, and everything was executed that way. The same with KOTOR 2, the same with Planescape Torment. Like this is what he does. He says we're going to do this, and everything's going to revolve around that goal, that design choice.
And the idea behind the dialogue system was like you can either be James Bond, Jason Bourne, or there was a third one I can't remember.
Bond, Bourne, and it was emotional. It was serious and it was professional or something like that. No, Goofy. Oh, it was
suave. It was suave, professional, and asshole. I think basically.
It was Roger Moore, Sean Connery, or Jason Bourne. I think. Was it that? Was that the 3? I can't remember exactly, but that was what it felt like to me. And the great thing about that, there's no wrong answer. There was no wrong way to do his thing. If you wanted to act that way, that's how the character would react. And that's a great example of how characters should react, because you write your characters, and just because it's multiple choice, all that means is you have to do the extra 3 steps and say, oh, if you respond with option 1, that's how the other character would react. If you respond with option 2, that's how they would react that way. So it's just doing the same thing 3 times over, or 4 times. Sometimes you have the dossier option, and they would respond differently. That is a great example of an RPG. Because there's so much options. There's so many opportunities to be the character you want to be. And multiple endings, and customization, and multiple playthroughs, and multiple weapons, and multiple ways to solve a level. And then you get to the best boss in video gaming. This is Briako, the Russian mobster. He's playing Turn Up the Radio while he's on cocaine. He's like, I gotta get a second life bar. Does a shot like. It's amazing. All right, there's the Giga Chad. Oh, there we go. Just got a donation. The issue I take with The Last of Us is that it kind of started the trend of PlayStation games being glorified walking simulators and more or less interactive cutscenes. Yes.
I really disagree with The Last of Us being a walking simulator and interactive cutscene.
It wasn't the first, but it did push it up a few notches because of the technology. So
I would say that The Last of Us 1 is a really good third-person shooter that's kind of linear. That's it.
Yeah, I would agree. It was more like a third-person shooter with a linear focus and strong narrative elements.
Right. There is plenty of other examples.
Like some other games that were similar to that was like The Order 1886. That was one that I liked, but unfortunately, you could tell they ran out of money and cut it short.
Yeah, that game feels like it was cut in half.
It was a great 2/3 of a game. It was a great 2/3 of a game. But
did they ever make a sequel to that?
I feel like it ends at where it should
they
start.
teased it in the end credits, which I don't know why they would tease a sequel to a game that they clearly didn't have enough money to finish. They did.
Oh boy!
It was crazy because it was like the teaser was basically that you become Batman, and,
really?
and Nikola Tesla is like your Alfred.
Yeah, because the whole thing
I was like, this looks awesome. You see him
ironically, you leave the Order at the end.
Yeah, and you see him like you see him standing on top of a building in like a dystopian what if scenario, and it's like red everywhere. Like it looked like Batman in Fallout. I was like, this looks awesome. It looked so cool, but they never made it.
Oh.
I would have. Like, here's the thing. The Order 1886 is one of my favorite PS4 games, but it clearly wasn't finished. And when I say it wasn't finished, I mean plot-wise. The gameplay was really smooth.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it was glitchy or broken. It's just that it was, they clearly didn't have the money to finish the plot.
I do think there is one big issue with the game of 1886, and it's just that there's so little of it outside of the walking section, the gunfight section, and then cutscenes. Yeah. And also the fact that the bosses are essentially all copy paste repeated.
Yeah, there's plenty of games that do the whole cinematics, cutscenes, dialogue option. I always go back to Mass Effect being the first that did proper talking heads, and then once that was the standard, everyone sort of copied that. Whether they did dialogue or dialogue mini games or whatever is another story, but that was sort of the standard for AAA, and then you see that everywhere else. So, anyway.
There's a super chat by Copper Owl.
Yeah, I see it. I just saw it right now. Let me just finish off the Giga Chad's donation. Perfect games for people who don't like video games. I think you could still like Uncharted and still like video games. I think.
You see, that's the thing is, I think that, and this is just my personal opinion, because my roommate seems to share that opinion, that these games that have a stronger narrative focus, and he actually mentions The Last of Us 1, that he doesn't like it because of how the industry reacted to it. I personally disagree with that. Like, I can understand the copy-paste thing, but the thing is, I really enjoy games that have a strong narrative focus.
It depends.
I really enjoy
I'm the same way.
shooters, but even the ones that go above and beyond with it, like Heavy Rain is one of my favorite games of all time. So, and the thing, I just, like, in my personal opinion, I feel like it's a little closed-minded to be critical of the narrative focus, because you can do so much with the technology of what a video game is now. Like, it's not like the 80s, it's not like the late 80s, early 90s where everything was a platformer. Like, now it's like you can do so much. You can have, like, interactive movies where you can control the character and pick up trophies and stuff, which is pretty much like what games like Heavy Rain are, where it's like mainly choice and things like that. But I don't think, like, a lot of people are really closed-minded and say, oh, that doesn't count as a game. Well, how do you know? You're still, like, it's still running in Unreal Engine. It's still, and you're still moving the character around. You're still using the controller to do that.
Well,
now you can critique it for changing the industry. But to say it's not a game, I feel like that's a little closed-minded.
I think Heavy Rain
I mean, that argument. That
I was
argument
just
to
using
me,
that as an example.
that argument to me really reminds me of the Watchmen video by Just Some Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or Watchmen is bad because a bunch of people tried to copy it and did badly at doing that.
Well, the experiment that was Heavy Rain was, what do we do with this amazing new technology from Sony? And let's make it an interactive joystick mystery. That threw a lot of people off for obvious reasons. And I think all of the David Cage games are. I tend to put him in he's like the European version of Hideki Anno or Hideo Kojima. He's just like this goofy. Oh, let's make this crazy story about this, and we're gonna try this. It's like so experimental. And even with Telltale games, the focus is on narrative. With Uncharted series, all those games, like they want to give you that movie experience. They want to give you that, oh, I could watch this and I could play this and I could do this, and this interactive QuickTime event comes in. So you have to like that. And if you don't get into that, I don't personally like QuickTime events games, but if you're not into that stuff, like which gets influenced like God of War 3, even God of War 2, all those annoying QuickTime events really just in the story. You can't skip those. You have to actually hit those QuickTime events or the game is over. And it drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
I hate that. So long as the cutscenes are cutscenes and not QuickTime events, I'm okay. But stuff like Heavy Rain is almost unplayable for certain people. And the stories in all the Quantic Dream lineup is just like, it started off with Fahrenheit, which was, holy shit. That was weird as hell. Beyond Two Souls was pretty weird. And then lately it was the Detroit Become Human, which amazing technology. Amazing looking.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that like the Connor story is really good, but the other two aren't.
Oh, I disagree. I think that the Connor and the Kara story were fantastic. I thought the Marcus story was decent. But I mainly stuck around because of Connor and to a somewhat, like a little lesser extent, Kara, but not because Kara was lower quality. I think that Connor and Kara were both high quality, but I just favored Connor because I really liked the detective thing.
All right. Let's continue. Here's the Copper Owl. I saw I missed your super chat there. I was looking at the other screen. In the Great Silence, the hero kills bounty hunters out of hate and pay by egging them into fights and claiming self-defense when he outdraws them. Okay, it sounds like your standard Western heroic bounty hunter fellow. I've never watched that movie. Is it a movie? I'm assuming it's a movie. I'm not a Westerner guy, so I can't say. So yes, there are lots of great characters in Westerners for sure.
Yeah, like Red Dead Redemption.
Oh god, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
One John Marston would have to play both sides in order to save his family, and it's just weird to get back to this video. It's so weird to hear this guy talk about. It's such a rare treat when this game was released in 2012. I think 2011 was when Red Dead Redemption 1 came out. And I'm just surprised he's never played through that game.
Around that time.
Right. And Naughty Dog does these games. They do all these big interactive style games with cutscenes and what have you. So, anyway, okay. One more from Good Chat, and then we're almost done. Let me be clear. I don't consider The Last of Us to be a walking sim, nor a bad game, but I do think it inspired some obvious walking simulators. My frustration is with its imitators, not itself. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
All right. That's fine.
Yeah,
Nice.
I just think if you're gonna hate on The Last of Us because of what it expired, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, lots of games are influenced by every other game, especially the AAAs. So when a studio like BioWare says, "Hey, Gears of War, we can do that," and they do a half-assed job, and everything becomes a hybrid, you're just like, dude, this is not this is not Mass Effect anymore.
I blame Watchmen for all this.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that there are games that are inspired by this game that are good, and I think there are games inspired by this game that are bad.
I mean, I feel like, of course, most games are going to be inspired by other games.
Every inspired.
Well, yeah, just look at Elden Ring. I mean, clearly they took a little bit from Breath of the Wild, which is funny because there's a little bit of give and take there, because Breath of the Wild clearly took a little bit from Dark Souls. So there's a little bit of give and take there.
That's an interesting narrative. The Elden Ring experience. It's just like, what is the narrative? The enemy on the horizon. All right. Anyway, we got 40 seconds. Let's do this, or 30 seconds rather.
Despite the second game me not being a huge fan of, it holds up excellently on its own. I feel better. I feel good. God damn it. Thank you for watching this video. That's it from me. I'm gonna go start making videos on new games and things. Thanks to the patrons and the members of the channel. You're all wonderful. Questions. Dude, why these fucking questions?
Cool.
Do you also smell toast? What's a toast? What's smelling? Can you smell what the rock is cooking? Is the one who smells it?
All right.
So, what'd you learn?
It was a very long-winded way to say that characters should be explained. Their behaviors of characters should be explained so that when they do something, it's not a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone here generally agrees with what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like you can take what he said as a critique of the industry right now, where Disney is really afraid to have their good characters do things that might be questionable, where they care more about making the character good and perfect than they do about making the character accurate to their own development.
There's our wonderful large-breasted sunflower.
Wow. Jesus, those are big.
Fantastic. Here's Conquer doing the Matrix stuff. All right.
Who shoot it now?
I do think that.
Here's Oddjob doing Oddjob stuff.
As we were talking about the Pope himself, I think this could be an inspiration.
There's The Rock in.
Yes.
Yes. Yokai doesn't want to see this episode.
Oh, you got to see it. It's so stupid.
Hold on, I'm going to.
Oh, wait, this woman beats him up.
Well, she's a superior life form. She has augmentations in her body.
All right, here I am on the stream memes.
I think that maybe because our circle, we don't see a lot of this, but I do think there is a very relevant.
Oh my god!
People and audiences who do react really badly when characters do bad things, even if they don't care.
Not
That's
so
what
much.
he's trying to answer.
Maybe, but that's just the average viewer who doesn't understand the character. That's fine.
I mean, I agree with that, but I still think he's trying to answer it, and I think it's a valid thing to answer.
Oh my god, when was they took a shot with Dwayne the Rock? Oh jeez,
That was so bad.
I can't believe this.
He's making the face too.
He does it. He does it in the show. He does the eyebrow. Yeah.
He does the eyebrow in the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's the X-Men opening theme. I'm not going to play it because I want to get taken down. But thank you very much.
Does he do the famous move? What is it? The choke slam?
I don't know. Probably. There's X-23. Yeah, she's wearing pink. See, it looks good. Well,
No, I want Hugh Jackman to wear pink. Okay.
yes, so do I. Yeah. Charles, prepare to get stuckmanized. What? Anyway, I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay.
Is that when he dies? Yeah, that's when he it's cool.
Anyway, that was a interesting video.
Yeah.
I could have done without it, but I didn't dislike it, so that's okay.
Yeah, we had to translate what he
prepare to
meant.
get stuckmanized thing is what Stuckman says at the end of his reviews.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
Okay. Well, I don't watch them, so that's good enough for me. So that was, I don't know how long we go on for. Almost 2 hours. Fantastic. So thank you guys for coming in. That was a nice, relaxing. It's a bloody warm day. I don't know where you guys are. It's like 25, 26 C.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm in Florida.
It's almost 30.
Oh, you're in Florida? Good man.
Perfect temperature.
I am looking for real estate. Just tell me when the housing bubble pops and I'll pop on down there. So thank you so much. Get yourself a drink, everyone. Relax, take it easy. I don't know what we're doing on the weekend, if we're doing anything, but do contact me. Keep the suggestions coming. Keep the voting going. And we'll talk to you real soon. Have yourself a great evening. Good night.